I used to be afraid of you, but I don't think I am anymore.
There's nothing to fear except God.
For me, God is a disease.
It's the things that make you look at what you thought you saw in a different light. The hole in the Pentagon being too small for a plane. The lawn isn't mussed up. The government's not showing the plane hitting when many cameras photographed it.
There's nothing to fear except God. God. God.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
It's too big.
Back and to the left, 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 back and to the left.
What's up, everyone? Sorry for keeping everyone waiting an excruciating amount of time. The half of God's Facers, our diehard group of listeners, wanted to get our reaction to PTA winning his first Oscars, but we've just been celebrating this whole time, so we were a little busy. Sorry about that.
Sorry, we got fucking
but I
lives,
finally-
bro.
I finally recruited Austin to come to the Ann Arbor Film Festival, which I always hype everyone up about because it's just a great experimental film festival. So I actually met up with him, and it really didn't even cross our mind to do like an in-person podcast. Like I thought about it, but I was like, this would just be such a waste of time.
Yeah, it only took me 10 years to show up to the film festival.
Yeah, and isn't it great if you show up to the University of Michigan every year, they're gonna win a national title every year.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the trade-off, that kind of sucks ass.
Yeah, you'll probably never come back.
A lot of the films we saw were pretty great, but if Michigan's just gonna win a national championship, then like, is it even worth seeing good art?
Oh my God, bro. I mean, I was even seeing clips of them celebrating, and I was just like getting flashbacks to when me and Eamon went to this pizza spot right before we went to one of the after parties, and it was just like a zoo of young people. Just, I mean,
Filthy animals.
they were animals. Yeah. And before anyone takes any undue connotation from what I just said, or however you want to interpret that, I know what you're thinking. And yes, it was a bunch of ladies going to the club, but it was also some 19-year-old dudes. Oh my God. No, I tried to avoid, honestly, going to the festival, I try to avoid like all like the, like the real college like locations. Like I went to the Starbucks on accident one day. Horrible mistake. It was like, I waited like 30 minutes to get
I believe that.
like breakfast, and I was standing around with all these people wearing like backpacks and stuff, and I was like, they should just throw me in prison instead of letting me like stand in this line, because like this is even if I was going to University of Michigan, I would not go here. I would not go to this Starbucks. Like, this is insane. But it actually is kind of funny how many spots you can kind of like avoid like that, because I feel like there's like, it's definitely like a college campus when you're there, but it still is kind of like a town where there's all kinds of stuff going on. So you're not really overwhelmed by college kids. And the goofiest thing about the festival being so like cool over the years is I don't really think almost any like University of Michigan students go.
I mean, not. Yeah, it seemed pretty mixed.
Because I mean, I'm sure there are some, but it's just not the same like energy. Like if you run into the Michigan students like in any other like location, like in that town, it's like a very present thing. But then at the festival, it's mostly like people that have no connection to the university, or at least they just don't bring it up, you know. But
Yeah.
there's definitely like Michigan people, but no, it was definitely a funny vibe getting you and Abby to see the opening night party, because it's like one of those things. There's like a lot of lore when you like walk in and there's just a bunch of people like just drinking in like the lobby, and then everyone's just like really pumped to watch experimental films. But yeah, it was a pretty good vibe. I mean, I ended up seeing Eamon and George like at the tail end of the festival too. Two of our former
Oh
guests on the podcast as
yeah.
well. So yeah, I was able to really link up with like a lot of people this year, which made it good. But yeah, I feel like it was a pretty okay program, like overall. I feel like you saw the better like I feel like you saw the better like films than Eamon did somehow.
Ah. So like towards the what? So basically we saw the first 2 days. So you're saying like towards kind of like the start of the festival had like kind of the better stuff.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that one program when we saw it that had like the horror movie short, the
Mm.
I think it's like Transmutations or something,
Yeah.
and then that Iranian short was incredible. That program was probably the best that I saw. I mean, the thing was that Eamon saw some pretty good programs that were like assorted films, but it wasn't like
Mm.
brand new shorts and competition like vibe. Like we saw the better like brand new films.
Okay.
But no, yeah, honestly, I'm trying to bring back. I think that first program kind of started, and I'm blanking on like every single film that played in that because basically Ann Arbor is like a program will be like 80 minutes long. Like every screening you could go to is about 80 minutes long, and then they'll just jam like 5 or 6 shorts in there, and it's a really cool format just because you can like kind of get up and go to the bathroom between shorts if you really wanted to. But no, I think the movie that won like best film of the festival was that Boulder film from the first
Yeah.
program. What? How would you describe that movie?
I would say it's 12, like 10, 12 minutes of a boulder kind of almost like in orbit.
Uh-huh.
And it's the sound that's going on is almost like if it sounds like the rock itself is like scraping against another rock, and there's like almost like a some sort of ethereal like oh kind of like not like when they touch the monolith in 2001: Space Odyssey, not like that crazy, but
Yeah, it definitely had some kind of like angelic sound because it's like this weird.
yeah.
It's like a boulder within a boulder, and then it becomes like boulders circling the boulder, and then as that happens, it's like this like angelic kind of like humming.
Hmm.
And I really thought the first program was kind of. I just didn't like. I mean, I wouldn't say I like hated it. I just was like, "Damn, where's like a really good film?" And then when that screen, that was like one of the last ones in the program. I was like, "Okay, cool." Now we finally get like this is like what I wanted like Austin to see because that's the kind of film that because kind of the structure of like the festival is like stuff will show and a movie will have like a vibe and it establishes like a tone and then it or like a theme and then it just hammers the theme
Hmm.
like the entire time. And there's a lot of films that do that, and it's just kind of like, okay, I get it. But then there's films that like introduce that, and they like actually take it to its logical conclusion, or they get into a rhythm that actually becomes something like interesting to engage with. And that was a film that like musically just really worked because like it was kind of confrontational, and it was obviously abstract, but it just ended up kind of being like enjoyable in this weird way. But yeah, I don't know what your take on it would be. Would you agree with how I've described it where it's like they definitely try it definitely is like an attempt at like an accessible film festival in a way?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of at least in terms of the presentation, because
Yeah,
I,
there's
I
that.
mean, some of the movies, well, most of it was shorts, but some of the shorts that we saw, I can see any person who is like, yeah, man, I like movies. If they watch, they'd be like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
was fucking stupid. It's just a rock circling and fucking what are you talking? You know, but I don't know. They made it feel in terms of the presentation in person, and there was always that one thing that showed up, right? That was warning if there's like violence, and then there's flashing lights, and
yeah, the
then
epilepsy warning and then disturbing content
yeah,
warning.
yeah, that was on like every screening we went to.
Oh my god, that actually just reminded me. There was one short that I saw with Eamon where I was like, "Damn, that was great." It literally was like a black and white like documentary short that was like 30 minutes long,
Hmm.
and it was like about there's like footage in it of January 6th,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
but it comes in like out of nowhere type vibe. I mean, the film was like somewhat like political, but it's the reason I'm bringing it up is connected to what you were saying because I think after that film screened, because you know, spoiler alert of a short that no one will ever watch, but it was good. I mean, it was definitely really good. The after it screened, they were like, "Yeah, sorry, we probably should have given a trigger warning for this film because and it wasn't even like you saw anything like disturbing like regarding like January 6th, but I'm trying to find the title of this thing because it's kind of funny. It's just darkly funny in the context of what I'm about to. Yeah, here it is. It's called Goodbye Snowball,
Oh, okay.
and it basically is like a documentary shot during the pandemic, and it's like this guy who he's like masked up and stuff, but and also very like COVID conscious, and he's like literally like watching the 2020 election play out like on his TV and stuff. And then he like apparently like actually shows up to January 6th and he's like a leftist, so he's like showing up to document stuff. But then the film also charts his dog dying.
Oh my gosh.
So there's this sequence of him like crying, saying goodbye to his dog, and then it's like he like smuggles a microphone into the room when these like veterinarians are putting his dog to sleep.
Oh,
And he's like, "Goodbye, Snowball," and he's like crying, and it's they
dude.
have there's no image too, which is really powerful, and it's like kind of muffled, so he has subtitles on the screen, so
Ugh.
it's like a black screen, but it was so intense that I was like, "Wow, that was actually unbelievable." And I don't know, another feature of Ann Arbor, which gets a little goofy, which I can bring up, old stories and stuff, but is the festival is also extremely political and they're
Okay.
definitely very leftist and stuff, which I feel like at times can be an issue if the film isn't good. But in the case of like Goodbye Snowball, it was like a perfect example of just like a really well made film where the subject of the film is clearly like politically left. And then the movie ends. They're like, there's a shot of them standing in front of police officers, and this guy like puts on lipstick. It's like the last shot of the film of like basically a gay dude. I don't know if he's actually gay, but presumably like some kind of which again it's when it happens in the movie it's just like so unexpected that you're like wow that film was like a lot but it wasn't. I don't know, there would be other films like there were like AI films this year that were just fucking terrible, which is
Mm.
crazy because I saw AI movies at the festival like 8 years ago and they were better than these AI movies, which is like I don't know if AI is regressing or what. But yeah, I'm trying to think of another good example this year. But no, there wasn't really too much bad like political stuff. It would be more like they would make like very specific statements like between like the films. And the really cool thing about Ann Arbor is that it's very like women like led. The person who runs the festival is female, and like there's just a lot of like female filmmakers and stuff, but it's definitely like, some good stuff. I mean, I was even explaining this to Eamon too, that and I think we talked about this, like it's almost like nice when you see something bad as well. Not to say it's like predictable what would be like something bad in Ann Arbor. Sometimes
Sure.
you'll just see like something that's like an animation and it just goes in one ear and out the other. You know what I mean? Oh my God, there was one film that me, George, and Eamon saw. I think this might be the worst of the festival.
Oh
It
no.
it was like called like Hugs or something, and it was just all
Okay.
these like it was like an animated film of like these pink creatures hugging each other over and over again. And then there was another film in the program that was like clearly like LGBT or whatever. And after all the shorts were done, I looked at George and Eamon. I was like, "How is the Hugs one gayer than the outward outward LGBTQ?" But no, I mean that's kind of the flavor of the experience. Oh my God, there was another one in that program. I don't even want to bring it up. I might have brought it up if we were talking with George. I could get his take on it, but no, I mean it's like a mixed bag, but it does kind of give you a way to like understand what is good and what isn't. Like it kind of like when you see stuff that's bad and you see stuff that's overwhelmingly good, you start to frame ideas
Mm,
like on genre and all this kind of stuff. So we really there really weren't that many very transgressive like blinking light type movies. I feel like when we saw that one, the Juror program with that one
hmm.
woman, the Sabine artist, I feel
Yes.
like that was the program that had the most like that had like
Consistent.
some yeah, because I'm even blanking on like because it's so hard with experimental films to remember like titles and all this kind of stuff. It gets like confusing, but it was almost like a retrospective of her work, even though she said it wasn't. But there were films in that program that were like flashing lights and stuff that I was like, okay,
Oh
this is what
yeah.
I this is what I wanted you to see. Because I feel like bringing in like political subjects or making like a very heavy-handed political statement in a movie that's super abstract kind of like defeats the purpose half the time. Like sometimes you can pull it off, but it's just something else to juggle, if that makes sense. Like you
Yeah.
can do it, but you're just making your life harder as a filmmaker. And I'm not even saying like you shouldn't do it. I mean, if you want to make a film about anything, you can, but
Mm.
it's just the reality, and I think a lot of people would agree with that assessment when they go to Ann Arbor. But there actually was a film in that program that was like both of these things at the same time. It was like that one about the statues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
what did you think?
Confederate soldiers, and they're kind of it's weird because at first you think it's framed where you think it's kind of a protest to keep them up, right?
Yeah,
And she changed it with like the color and made it kind of like in my memory it was like this weirdish red over like all the image, and then I feel like the frame rate was also messed with, but
yeah, she would do all this because it was. It'll be like I think that film would have like kind of like a normal. I thought it had a normal audio, or it might have brought in
right.
like music over the course of it or something, or some other sounds. But it like the audio tracks as like a straightforward documentary, but then the image is like crazy distorted and like I'm pretty sure it flashes at times. But there's like she'll have like the statues like and she'll have like she'll have like all these little animations of the statues being taken down and stuff or you know duplicates. But yeah, I thought that was one. I thought her explanation of that was pretty interesting too, because she said that there was no like middle ground between these people protesting the statue and then the people who like wanted to like keep the statues up, because it basically starts with like these old dudes talking about their I think it's like these guys doing like recreating like Confederate soldiers like doing
Mm.
like a military drill or something, and then they're talking about like their grandfathers or great grandfathers having served in the Civil War. And then as the film progresses, there's like people protesting and wanting the statues taken down, and I think North Carolina. And
Yes.
it was really fascinating because it had this kind of dissonant introduction to this topic where the form is so like abstract that you're like not even really anticipating you're going to be getting this like topic. And I don't know, I feel
Yeah.
like the way she brought it up after the film, after all the films were screened, I feel like she had a pretty good kind of justification as far as, you know, because some filmmakers will, you'll see something and you go, oh wow, that was like not very heavy handed at all. Like it kind of, it's just, you know, it's a film, but obviously there's, you know, you can interpret what you think the filmmaker believes, but then after a film they'll just be very heavy handed with what they believe. But she was very much like talking about it in like a formal way. Like obviously, I'm sure she's like against the statues, but she, when she was talking to us, she didn't make that like point. She just was kind of like more interested in just documenting the two sides of this like argument, you know. And I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure all the statue protest, all the protesting, all those statues like came down, like a ton of them did back
Yeah.
then. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff that's screened in her program. Hers were pretty good. There were some that were not as formally interesting as those, but
I like the one with the archival footage when they were like killing those animals and stuff.
oh yeah, she said a really wild explanation for that too. It was like footage from some kind of like it was like a film that was supposed to be shot on like a Ford plant in like
Yeah.
Brazil. Yeah, Brave New World is what it was called.
Yes.
By Sabine Gruffat or Gruffo. I don't even know how you say her name. But yeah, it was like a Henry Ford plant, and it was just footage she found that they must have taken of like all these like animals like in Brazil and just
He's like
weird.
shooting at a crocodile, or no, it would be
Yeah,
an alligator.
yeah,
He's
there's
like
like
shooting
crazy
a gun
animals.
at an alligator, and then they're
Yeah, I
like
remember that one
stabbing.
being really good.
Wasn't it a manatee?
Yeah, I think so. There was another animal like
And
that
they're
where
like
like,
stabbing a manatee, and it's like bleeding out. It's pretty disturbing
oh yeah, there was like animal death
in
in that one.
retrospect, but
No, that was a cool program. But no, I definitely think yeah, the Iranian film and then the transmutation film was almost like a Kenneth Anger inspired like
yeah,
short. And yeah, no, we got to talk to the filmmaker a little bit, and they were pretty. They said that for this film Transmutation, I think they said that Mark Kermode's daughter is like one of the like actors in the film,
yeah, it was crazy.
which is so surreal. But no, I mean it really goes to show how much work goes into some of this stuff because with the Transmutation film, like there was just so many incredible like costumes and like a set and like props and like you know they were
Practical
showing us
effects and
yeah, all these practical effects and stuff. It was pretty insane. That was definitely in my top 5 as well, where that was the kind of film that like gets under your skin, but it's also extremely like abstract. And no, and then that very night we saw that we saw one feature that you know I feel like I was almost kind of glad that Abby didn't see that one because it
oh
was like
god,
that one was like pretty disturbing. Just with even before there was animal death, it was called "Find
oh,
One Who Was Find One Who is Not Born of Woman. That one is your father." And it's like a documentary shot on the streets of Damascus, following homeless people and like disabled people, shot in black and white. And it's like close-ups of like deformed hands and stuff, and they're all very religious. Like it's you know, the
mm,
people introducing the film also gave a really weird pitch for it. They were like, "Oh yeah, some would call this exploitation." It's like, okay, you probably shouldn't.
don't lead with that.
You shouldn't lead with that because I mean, we saw the movie, and I definitely would not say it is. Like, there's very little evidence of that claim, you know. But I feel like you just feel a little bit sad seeing people that have such difficult lives that can hardly like walk or like move.
Yeah,
But it had a very like religious kind of tone to it, which I appreciated because all these like homeless people on the street, they were all, you know, praying to Allah or talking about Muhammad or something.
Mm.
They all, a lot of them had like a very religious flavor to like what they were saying, and then, you know, it really did seem like it was a Christian kind of film depicting Muslims is the interpretation I had, just because it was, you know, this title comes from like the Gospel of Thomas or something,
Mm.
and the movie just had a very like, you know, Pasolini type of Christianity in a way, like, you know, the Gospel according to Saint Matthew or something, like with the like handheld camera work, which I thought was amazing. And really, that was maybe my favorite film of the festival. They started that shit so late, and I was really tired going into that one.
Oh yeah, I remember this now.
It's hard to watch
Beforehand, yeah.
so many of these films, like so many of the films you just crash. You're just like, oh my god. And I love, you know, this is like my thing, and like I'm just like really tired. Like after you left, I literally had such a like low key day the day you left. I mean, I still saw stuff, but I went to bed like early and didn't drink at all the day you guys left. But no, that was kind of the perfect film to watch before we went to an after party though, because it was really like satisfyingly like sad, but also
Mm.
like thought provoking and kind of spiritual. And we're so like I felt so tired going into the screening after the screening. And when we went to the after party, I feel like I really rediscovered my I
Second
wouldn't
wind,
even
baby.
what'd you say?
Second wind.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got our second win 100%. But I made a discovery that as a Chicagoan, I am now proud to announce publicly that I think I've learned what makes Malort good.
Oh God.
And we did Malort shots when Eamon got there like a couple days after you. I said to him, I'm like, dude, me and Austin did Malort shots the other night, and it was like amazing. And he was like, "Okay, let's do it." And they didn't have Malort at one of the after parties, and
Oh.
we took these whiskey shots that were disgusting. And then the next night we got Malort shots, and it was
Oh.
kind of the similar thing that happened with us, where you ask for a Malort shot in a random bar in Michigan, and people like give you looks. Like the bartender was like, "What?" And then like we are just talking to some random guy, but there's something about it. I think I've discovered like why they're good. I don't know. Like especially I feel like if I was like in the service industry, I would understand them better. But it's just like the sensation of
Mm.
being really tired and then taking a Malort shot to like give yourself energy. It really just smacks. It was like a glass of water.
Oh God. People ask me about it. They're like, because I told them I had some. And they're like, what was it? And I said, well, the first one wasn't great. The second one was pretty good, and the third one was just bliss.
Because it's like a shot that has like an aftertaste.
Oh yeah, it tastes like, I guess I would say the what I've heard frequently is gasoline.
Well, I don't know about that.
I think I could see it. I
I've
could
heard
see
people
gas.
say it tastes like licorice or something.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like I never, like I said, I never understood the appeal because you know people live and die by it. I mean, I've told this story I think on the podcast before, but when I saw the Cubs game last year and was chilling with Ben at in L.A. and we ran into a Cubs fan on the bus, and he was like, "Yeah, when the Cubs won the World Series, I took a bunch of Malort shots."
Ugh.
You're just like, Jesus, man, that's so like it's like the most Chicago thing
Ugh.
to hear someone say. And I've always kind of had like an ambivalent reaction to it. I've never had like a strong opinion on it. Whenever I've been made to have the shots, like in Chicago, I'm always like, I'm just not a shot person. But like I
Yeah.
said, not being here and doing it in another place, it did make me feel like warm and fuzzy. I felt like, oh man, that hug film wasn't so bad. No, I'm just kidding. I actually hated the movie even more. Um, but yeah, no, just to even get, oh my god, jumping all over the place here. Yeah, no, I guess Eamon, he did see, we saw a couple programs that weren't in competition that were great. Like we saw this one that was like this British like art college, like a collection of animated shorts from this like prestigious college in England, and it was amazing. And again, I don't even like animation that much, but Ann Arbor will show you that that's like the stuff that really stands out. Or like I just said with this Find One Who Was Not Born a Woman, that one is
Yeah.
your father film. Really, the documentaries, like a documentary, but with like an experimental flavor to it, is usually the strongest genre. It's just very reliable, and I also just think like the observational approach is in general the best way to make films, but especially films with no budget, which is the other thing I really love about Ann Arbor. Oh my god, I'm so pissed though. Speaking of animation, I actually did miss the Stacey Steers short, and she's like this master animated filmmaker that she had one of her films screened, but I think me and Eamon like missed that
Mm,
program. But
damn.
that won like best animated film of the festival,
Shit.
and she was one of the jurors a couple of years ago, and I saw like a whole program of all of her of a bunch of her films, and it was like magic. It was like because it's almost like her films are almost like collage. Like they seem like she would have like cut it out of like a newspaper and then like almost does like stop motion on the page. It's like this two-dimensional kind of animated look. And then it'll be
Okay.
kind of black and white a lot of the time. And then it'll be like this weird kind of like folklore feeling and like, you know, it'll have a like really haunting kind of music and scenes, and she's like amazing. I really need to track down that film still, but no, yeah, the animated shorts that me and Eamon saw were really cool. And there was one that was like absurd that had an absolutely I gotta say the title because I'm just trying to go through the greatest hits of like the best films I saw like at this festival, even though no one's gonna ever see them. Um, it was like Boduga Boogaboo or something, and like the most insane time. And like the film was like kind of leaning into this idea that like it's just about these like animated creatures speaking nonsense and like exploding and stuff. And it's like 4 minutes long, but the form of it was very like fast paced and like mind reconstructing. Like the film ends and it like reverses the entire film in like the last 10 seconds.
Oh,
You know,
look.
you see the whole movie again. Yeah, it's called Boogodobiegodongo.
So,
Boogodog yeah,
sounds like an 80s album title.
2013 by Peter Millard. And the description is I once lived in a Boogodoo Bigodongo and I felt better. But the
And-
movie starts and you hear
Wait,
like
what?
this you hear
What?
this like stupid ass like animated like sounding voice like boo do do like that's literally what you hear. And then it's just these like creatures like bouncing like appearing and disappearing and you know I can't even, there's no plot. It's just like animated like whatever. I imagine all these films are probably like a thesis for whatever year, you know, like an essay that someone had to do to like get their degree or something. But it was insane though. I was like this that was the most impressive. And no, and then the other one I wanted to bring up that I saw with Eamon was we saw this program called Total Mobile Home,
Okay.
which was really fascinating, especially from Eamon's standpoint, being someone who likes kind of like DIY type of stuff. And it was basically about this like DIY theater in San Francisco, like in like the 90s. And it was like this couple that ran it. And this couple had all these like legends of experimental film come and show their films. So the program was basically all these different films that of filmmakers that had participated in this little theater. It's like a micro cinema is what they called it.
Okay.
And it was basically like a house and like it was just like a basement and like 30 people and like the whole program, like there's all these different like shorts in the program and like videos that are just showing this like old like film scene, which was so cool. And like, yeah, the people who like, were there. were actually like introduced the film. There was one. It was called Cellar Cinema, and cinema spelled with an S, by George Kuchar. And it's like, and George Kuchar is like a legendary experimental filmmaker, and it's him uh, showing this theater space, Total Mobile Home, and it's this woman Rebecca Barton and David Sherman who like ran it, and it's really funny because it's like, first of all, it's like weirdly sexual. Like
Oh.
there's like a lot of like they're clearly very in love, the couple, like when this was shot is one aspect of it. And like I think the dude like would have like his shirt off at times. And then at one point the Rebecca person like goes, "Hey, look at this book of like Romans like having sex or something." And it's just all these different like positions, and like it would be stuff
Ah.
like that. And then there's crazy like animations across the screen. But yeah, Cellar Cinema was a pretty cool film, but like funny. And then yeah, there were, the other one is, this Tara Lee, Barbara, and Governor one had some kind of known filmmakers, but it was interesting though for sure. It was kind of like, a window into the past, like seeing. I'm trying to think of some other names. The program ended in such a crazy way too. There was like a guy, I guess, named Vincent Price, who they had, because they're like over the course of the
Wait.
program they'll have. Sorry, what?
Oh, I was thinking of Jonathan Price. I'm stupid. Shoot me. Kill me.
Oh my God, wasn't that Vincent Price? I'm like literally gonna.
Vincent
This is gonna
Price.
drive me nuts. I like made this mistake when I like saw the. It's like this crazy clown guy. Oh my God, this is gonna destroy me not knowing this in this split second. But no, I swear to God that the guy's name was like Price. But there was this crazy footage of this like, you know kind of like this performance artist doing like a live performance at the Total Mobile Home in the 90s. And so there's all these clips of people saying like, "Oh, what's the thing you remember the most?" And they're like, "Oh, when the clown showed up and did like his crazy performance." And then it's just like this guy, and he's like a really deranged and disturbing looking clown. He's like putting on like a strap on and like pretending to like jerk off in front of all these people. And then he's like having them like cover him in like food. Everyone gets up and starts covering him in like in ice cream
What?
at one point. And he's like doing prank calls, and he's like, "Fucker." Ah, ah. And then the person
Oh
on the other
my.
end is like, "Who is this?"
Yo, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was insane. And everyone, like the people right before the video of this deranged like performance art like clown guy, everyone is like, "What is the thing you remember most about Total Mobile Home?" And they're like, "Yeah, that clown showed up." And then they all were like, "Yeah, it was very confrontational and kind of disturbing, but beautiful." And the clown afterwards apparently was like, so like his skin felt like really bizarre having all this like food on it, and like it's like this low quality like video
Oh my
resolution of them
god.
just dumping food on this clown.
What? Wait. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious to bring that up and not have the exact name. Here, I got the book in front of me, I can like pull this shit up. Yeah, I think that was on a Saturday. Yeah, Luther Price. Luther Price's Clown 2: Scary Transformations, a documentation of a performance by transgressive Super 8 filmmaker Luther Price at Total Mobile Home in 1994. He inhabits multiple personas, including a perverted clown, a dandy doll
What?
defacer, and a living ice cream sundae. Yeah. So Google Luther Price, seems like a completely deranged uh person who was like really funny, but like doing like these crazy clown like films.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
I wish
like
that.
as fucked as it looks. This is ugh.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was like inspiring in the sense of being like, wow. And they all were. I mean, you can just have like a scene like with something so like low key, but no, it was a good experience. I feel like overall with like the festival, it's kind of like a down to earth experience, but you can still see stuff that you're like really like inspired by and
God.
pumped on. Um, but no, yeah, definitely. I guess just yeah, that Iranian short was probably the only one we saw that I'd bring up also as being one of the best. That kind of showed an Iranian family that was
Yeah.
really moving during like the 12-day war, but also kind of disturbing given the timing. But yeah, they also had like a Ukraine program, which was all like Ukraine female filmmakers. That it was interesting. There was some good stuff in there. It was it was definitely interesting seeing people from places that are like war torn make films about the situation, which is the other thing about filmmaking that is, but also art in general. You can kind of see into other people's lives. And yeah, Archive of Collateral Lives was definitely one of the better films
Incredible.
shown at the whole festival because it was basically just like home movies of this family like hiding in a basement watching old movies waiting for bombs to drop on them, and they're just like not even talking about politics at all. They're just kind of like living with each other, and they're kind of like kind of a healthy smart family. And like yeah, I mean the Persian culture, I mean they have just a great like artist like intellectual class like of people, which extends to like Kiarostami is like kind of how I started having a vibe that Iran had like some
Yeah.
really interesting thinkers and all that. But no, it was also sad, but it was also like inspiring, being like, wow, this person literally made this film under war, under basically, an unprovoked war too. But no, I mean anyway, I don't know are there any other thoughts that come to your head as far as like the experience or just like how you would explain going to like a festival like that?
I really like how you can just be on your own pace, you know,
Mm.
whatever you kind of are feeling. Um, it is kind of exciting that um, it is kind of a gamble with how you choose your time because you're right. You might not see something that you think is that great, or you might see something, that is like, holy shit, that was really good. So, I mean, I would say this. Interestingly enough, like I felt there was pretty a wide range from like I think the shortest one we saw was like 3 minutes,
Mm.
and then like the longest one was 20 something. I kind of dug the stuff a lot more that was longer than rather shorter.
Yeah, it's just tough to have an opinion on if a movie doesn't really give you enough to work with.
Hmm.
It's hard to like even have an opinion on every single film, which is again also part of like the exercise that makes it kind of like you said, like almost like a challenge in a way, where it's like really pushing you to like have an opinion. Or that's almost how I look at it, especially excuse me, in this era of like letterbox where I can literally look up like every film after it's screened.
Hmm.
And kind of cool. So I counted, I'm pretty sure I saw 80 movies at Ann
Damn.
Arbor. It's a lot. I mean, I only saw like two feature films, and like you said, the average runtime was probably like 10 minutes or like 8 minutes or something. But yeah, there's just more to work with like a 20-minute movie. And oh my god, I have a baseball game on in the background. This crazy brawl just broke out. What the
And here they go. They clear the benches.
I don't have the sound on, but that's what is this really is this really happening right now? That's so funny. Uh no, but it's great. I always love going back and stuff. And there's so many like great stories over the years there. I'll we could probably get a reaction to the Oscars briefly or
Oh yeah.
as well, just because, we've wanted to see PTA win an Oscar for a while. And um no, I mean, I'll end it on a great story to give an idea of how batshit Ann Arbor can be. A number of years ago, we saw a program, and it was like one of the last films we saw the whole year, I think. And it was like in black and white or something, and it was like with voiceover, and it was like about people wanting to fuck dead bodies. It's like about necrophilia.
Oh my gosh.
And we all were like, wow, that movie was great. It was like kind of got under
You're like, that was good.
it was like, man, that kind of like got under our skin, and like it was just like the cinematography was great, and it had like this kind of intense vibe, but it wasn't like judgmental or like trying to push you any direction on what you think it should like. Well, what it doesn't push you to believe any one thing when you're watching it.
Uh-huh.
And then it ends, and then the filmmakers go up on stage, and everyone's like, we're like, oh yeah, let's watch the Q&As, which, by the way, this year was probably the least Q&As I've seen like ever since I've gone, just because there's no
Oh,
time.
okay.
Usually there's no fucking time. I'll just like leave because I want to like go get like food.
Right.
Oh my god, dude, Jorge Soler tried to knock out what in this baseball game. What? That's a terrible punch. Oh my god. Just in the middle of this conversation. But no, anyway, to get back to my main point, this woman shows this movie about I think it was kind of like faceless, nameless. You kind of assume it's either a mixture of, again, I haven't seen this in forever. I have a bad memory of the film, but it's like
Okay.
a mixture of either she's inventing people that want to have sex with dead bodies, or she's actually talking to people that do. And
Oh
she's
my
on the
god.
stage, and she's just like, and she's also British, and she's like, actually, sexuality is a floating thing. You shouldn't judge people for their sexuality. And I believe it shouldn't be a crime. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I just remember the bits that came out of that where I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you want to have sex with a dead body, yeah, you should be in a cage.
It's- yeah, I don't know, man. I can't.
And then I think like,
What made it interesting? Was it just like the idea itself just being like
well, it was just like
put
it
to
was
the
presented in like a creepy way. It was like a creepy like,
hmm.
horror movie tinged or like psychological, like disturbing, but then like the cinematography was great. And then she just came out and was like, "Yeah, I believe that every person's sexuality is like sacred, and like we shouldn't like be
Whoa.
judgmental." And it's just like, "What?" And like this story was so
Whoa.
funny because everyone's just like, yeah, yikes, ooh. And then I think Dylan or someone tried to talk to her at the after party, and she like totally ignored him.
Wait, what?
just casually like, hey, you made a good film, and just like looks through him and like keeps walking. Like she was like literally like like not a nice person on top of all that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that's like the most cringe that Ann
Jeez.
Arbor gets. You see a film that's like kind of abstract and good, and then the filmmaker makes you hate the film because of their personality.
Oh my gosh, that's shocking.
Yeah, isn't that the craziest story you've ever heard? We saw another one a couple years ago that was like, oh my god, it was like set in India, and like it was like this horrible thing about like little girls being like murdered like brutally, and then the film was like, you did this to them or something like
What?
that. It was something like that, like very provocative, like really trying to like, and we all like got out of the movie just like angry. We're like, dude. And then like it crossed a lot of lines too, where it was like it was giving you so much information about these like crimes that were committed. and it was just like, okay, what is this? So there will be films that really like they really like try to make you like they really try to like fuck with you, you know, which at times works. It's just a dangerous formula, you know. So films can just kind of fall on their face at the festival, but
Oof.
yeah, I mean, other than that, like, no, I mean, it was a good time. It's definitely chill. Like, if you want to go to like an experience where it's not like, because again, I would like for there to be a little bit more. Like this year, there were definitely less people at the festival overall than I remember in like the last couple of years. I would like for there to be more people in general, but it also is really nice. Like like it's solid crowds where like you're getting like a solid take on all these films, like you're seeing it with an audience, but
Right.
it's not like so packed that you're like screwed like getting to any of the screenings. And like I said, I definitely would say something like the Chicago Film Festival or God forbid like New York Film Festival. All these festivals have better programming. They're showing like the who's who of what are good films in a given year. But Ann Arbor is like unique because it's like basically no budget and then it's, you know, experimental. So it's a lot more. I feel like it's inspiring in the sense that anyone can kind of really try and make a film having seen stuff in Ann Arbor. Like you don't really because that's kind of connected to my philosophy. I don't really think you need a ton of money to make films, but
Right.
obviously that like depends on what you're trying to make. But yeah, I mean we're almost out of time, but I figure we should probably I didn't really feel like there was a huge pressing need because we kind of knew that PTA was going to win. But going back to the Oscars, how did it feel to see PTA finally win?
It was nice. It was nice to watch him. I don't know. It was nice to. I don't know. You know when you see people that go up there like, and they just have a speech, and they're like, "I want to thank this person." It's just like okay,
Yeah,
but getting to see Paul Thomas Anderson do it was pretty cool. I mean, I don't even care. I'm a total stan or whatever the kids call a fanboy nowadays. But
yeah, and he was
he's
super emotional too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like it was nice. I thought it was kind of weird how they were trying to press him like politically after the uh like you know
Yeah,
how they win the award and then they go like backstage or whatever and they do like a quick little press conference like right after they've won it's kind of weird
yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
but that was kind of strange but yeah that was awesome. I thought um prediction wise I probably switched a bunch of stuff from our last episode at like the last second but I thought it was interesting that everyone well when I say everyone most people on Gold Derby thought casting was going to go to Sinners and then um cinematography was going to One Battle and those flipped.
yeah, yeah. Wasn't that the first like woman to win for cinematography?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't even remember the cinematography of Sinners to be honest, but I think it was kind of cool that one battle, one casting, and like Chase Infinity was like on stage when that was announced, which was kind of fitting.
You know, it's hilarious. Apparently, the casting director of Sinners, um, is like, from my understanding of watching some stuff, she's like the person in casting, and everyone just was completely like, "Yeah, she's gonna get the award, and it's gonna be like a big deal." And then they just called
Oh, okay.
the name for One Battle, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
no, I
like
mean,
early in the night, I was like, "Whoa, all right."
yeah, that was like the new award going to one battle. Yeah, I
It
mean,
is
it
kind of
was.
hard to like try to predict something though for like the first year of its existence.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's thank God it goes to PTA. He's like one of the great all time greats at casting. Which hopefully he casts Renate sometime. Renate Reinsve.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, she's in that A24 movie that is starting to get this hype.
Oh, I saw you send me something about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently it's directed by like a 20-year-old,
Oh,
which is actually
okay.
kind of intriguing. It's like not something I usually hear like a super young director, but yeah, it's like looks like the film Backrooms or something.
Oh, really? That's what that is?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
And I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is in it.
Huh.
But no, I mean it's we're definitely a couple of weeks after after the Oscars. Everyone's you know we don't really need to weigh in so much. I was so pumped that Sean Penn won. That was insane.
Yeah, I really thought that that was a vulnerable spot.
I did not think he was gonna win just because he wasn't gonna like campaign and then he just doesn't even show up and
That's
he's
the
like
greatest thing is that Timothy Chalamet had the loudest Oscar campaign I think I've ever seen in my life, and he didn't win. And then some guy who didn't go to any of the fucking award shows that he won
yeah, and
didn't.
he's
It's
now like
crazy.
the ninth actor, man or woman, to win 3 Oscars, and then like the fourth or fifth like like actor, like male actor.
Oh my gosh.
It's like an insane like category of people. It's like Daniel Day Lewis and Meryl Streep like type people.
Mm.
So that was insane. I did not expect that, but it was also like, okay, this just seems like reality. And then Conan like got gassed.
Wait, what?
You remember when Conan ends the Oscars with one battle after another, like and it's
Oh yeah, that was. It makes me wonder though, because he did the Aunt Gladys from Weapons at the beginning,
yeah.
and then he does the one battle at the end. It makes me wonder if they already know the names that are going to get called in the envelope.
Well,
But
this year seemed like it more than others because
yeah.
I didn't even expect the weapons woman to win either. And he has this whole extended skit playing her, and I'm like, damn, I gotta watch that movie still. But it seemed like a great performance. But no, it's so funny too because people had pointed out to me that guy was close with Conan, the Jim Downey guy,
Oh yeah. Was he
and the
a writer on SNL or something?
yeah, something like that. So it was so funny seeing Conan get like gassed, like he's in one battle. But no, I was not expecting Michael B. Jordan to win either. But I don't know.
It's crazy.
It's interesting contrasting this with like the Ann Arbor Film Festival because it's like all these like celebrities and like I don't know. I feel like this is one of the best Oscar. I mean, this is literally one of the best Oscars like of all time, just because I get to see PTA win 3 Oscars, and the results really do improve the entire experience. But I don't know. It's kind of surreal. It was a really great moment, but looking back a couple of weeks, it's like, wow, I I don't even know what to expect for next year. I almost could like care less about the Academy Award. Like I like
Mm.
doing the preview shows and stuff, but like we just reached like the thing I've like wanted to see.
the the climax.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've reached the end of like Oscar history in a way where it's like, damn.
We've finally given it to the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to
Oh,
process. I think the only place I can go with it a couple weeks after the event because I was like really pumped on it and I still am, but I really wonder what he does next now that he like wins an Oscar.
oh,
Like
it's
the
so yeah, because I don't know, maybe he does something kind of I don't
it'd be
know.
crazy if he does something risky.
It does feel like it's gonna it's something is gonna be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he because I feel like Licorice Pizza and then this were more like PTA trying to be accessible is kind of
Right.
that's like my watered down interpretation. I mean, it's like a filmmaker has so many films in their career. It's obviously not. I don't know if that's exactly what his interpretation of it would be, but Licorice Pizza is almost like a coming of age type of film, and then this One Battle was like an
Mm.
action film, and those are both like kind of more accessible than like because I feel like with him he'll just do like a character study usually, which you can't really pitch that in the same kind of way. You have to like kind of pitch it
Right.
as the new PTA, like even Phantom Thread is like everyone loves, but you have to like pitch it as like you know, the new PTA, or you have to pitch it as like the new Daniel Day Lewis rather than it's like a rom com, and that one is kind
Yeah.
of like whatever. So I don't know. I don't want to put any. I don't want to wish cast at all. I don't have anything else I need from PTA. I will say I did rewatch There'll Be Blood after he won, like a couple days
Right.
after he won his Oscars, and rewatching it, it goes hard in the paint. I mean, that really is like a no punches pulled movie. like that, like that kind of goes without saying, but it's one of those movies I've seen it so many times and it's meant so much to me at different times in my life
Yeah.
that seeing it after he wins his Oscars, and it's literally a movie about like an American capitalist who's like a white dude who's just sucking oil out of the earth, and then he's like literally like a self-centered monster of a guy, and it's just like one of the greatest characters ever, and it's just such a quintessentially American film. And then PTA makes a movie with a bunch of black people and about like a mixed race daughter, and then that's what gets him an
Mm.
Oscar. But it is striking how much There'll Be Blood scares the hose, and it's iconic. People just still love it,
Does.
and
Does. They're like, I really
it's
like this movie, There Will Be Blood. And she's like, okay.
but it
It's,
really is like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think my, I mean, oh my god, it really is like great literature or something. Like, it's like Moby Dick or something, or like it feels like a Cormac McCarthy novel. There'll Be Blood. It feels
mm,
very much like man versus nature, or like man versus man type of thing, where Ford, who is definitely inspiring for PTA throughout a bunch of these films, because he brought up The Searchers in regard to One Battle After Another, but John Ford is one of the all-time greats at depicting kind of man versus man conflict in films. Like, you'll have two men like fist fighting like in the Quiet Man, there's this huge rivalry between John Wayne and then this other Irish dude, because John Wayne wants to marry this Irish dude's sister. And it's
mm.
like he goes back to Ireland. He wants to live in Ireland after he was a boxer. And he just keeps getting into like fist fights with this guy. And there's a bunch of those with John Ford where there's just these like fights. And like, that's almost how I look at There'll Be Blood as well. Cause, and I know this is John Ford, but he was inspired by Treasure of the Sierra Madre for There'll Be
Mm.
Blood. But it's kind of the similar kind of aesthetic of, as far as like, Treasure of Sierra Madre is another movie with no female characters. It's just men like looking for gold and then trying to kill each other and like getting like jealous of each other. And I don't know, it's kind of it's poetic that PTA finally wins an Oscar, but I definitely do think he should have won for I think There'll Be Blood was pretty undeniable as far as being like a classic. And I really would have
Yeah.
wished he would have won like screenplay or something. Because honestly, he really wrote that script. Like the Coens, they just kind of like they kind of organized Cormac's novel. But
Right.
PTA went in a different direction than the novel that he adapted. So it literally, and again, I'm literally making the argument that No Country is also pretty much a perfect film. So I don't even have a problem with No Country winning Best Picture. Those are like,
Mm.
that's like the greatest race ever, No Country versus There'll Be Blood. Like, those are two impossibly great films. I don't think There'll Be Blood was like robbed per se, but it really did feel like that was like the breakthrough, where he was already kind of like a wonder kid, savant of a filmmaker throughout his career, and he was already kind of looked at as like a incredibly talented. But There'll Be Blood really felt like he had done something that was like an instant classic, and an
Mm.
instant classic in a genre that he wasn't even like known for. He hadn't really even done period pieces before There'll Be Blood. So I don't know. My rewriting of history, I kind of would have wished his first Oscar was for There'll Be Blood. But who knows? It might have altered the trajectory of his career. But now that he wins for One Battle, which similarly is like about America and stuff, in a completely different way than There'll Be Blood, and like he's has this like leftist sensibility that's emerged in this film. I do wonder what the next thing is. I really don't.
It's it's gonna be the other side of the.
I just couldn't imagine him making another One Battle after another. Like that would be. I would be like a little bit curious if he just like literally was like, yeah, here's another movie, and then it's also like the exact same thing. But that's like his whole vibe. Is he always like shifts like totally every film he like tries something new. So who even knows?
Mm.
What I would assume is that he has some like old script that he has already been working on that's like completely like different. But I don't know if he's ever going to make an action movie again. That's what I would hope,
Mm.
because I don't know if you can top like the chase sequences in this, and I don't think it'd be worth it, And say in the same breath, it'd be. I mean, he's never going to do like There'll Be Blood again. I mean, yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of is it would be cool if he could work with Daniel Day-Lewis again.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's more how I look at PTA in this moment. Is I'm more like who I want him to work with rather than, because you can't like anticipate the details of a film, because these filmmakers are, especially PTA is like one of the all-time greats. It's like I don't look at movies like that either. I don't go, oh, this has to be this for me to like it. It's like they're kind of showing you something that you didn't have, that you didn't make. So it's like you're not. I didn't see One Battle, and I didn't want it to go a certain way for me to like it. But no, I mean, I guess that's my prediction. I think he's going to work with Aubrey Plaza. I could see that.
Uh,
Renate Reinsve, and then I could see him working with Leo again, because he's almost worked with him so many times. And then yeah, Benicio will probably be. I bet you that's my strongest prediction, is that the next movie will have the craziest cast. It might have a crazier cast than anything he's ever made.
damn.
That's the only expectation I have. I don't know what genre it would be. I mean, imagine if he tried to make like a science fiction movie or something now.
I mean,
That's like the only thing he hasn't done.
yeah.
Because like There'll Be Blood almost has like a horror vibe in a way. Like it has like kind of this foreboding classic American feel, but it also has this kind of like disturbing feeling to it. And then he's made like
Mm,
romantic films. He kind of made like artistic films, like comedies and stuff. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, the only in terms of like costume design, production design, and effects, like yeah, like science fiction would be the only would be that would get me really pumped. But I'm not,
Ooh.
obviously I have no idea what he's gonna do next. I literally
How long do you think till he makes another film?
I wanna say he's actually talked about this. I wanna say that he like didn't like how long he was off at different points in his career. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be within like 3 years.
Mm,
I forget
damn.
where he's I forget where he said that, but I swear to God, I thought that, because it was Punch Drunk Love in 2002, and then it was There'll Be Blood in '07, and then it took until 2012 for the Master. So there were, in a 10-year period, he only made There'll Be Blood and the Master basically. And so I don't remember when he said this, but it might have been around when Licorice Pizza came out. But yeah, he was kind of closer to 3-4 years between films is kind of like his average, and I think it's going to be a quicker turnaround than that because what he did, and going back to John Ford, which this is a great John Ford quote. He said that whenever you have a hit, like you make a hit movie, you should
Mm-hmm.
come back and make a movie for like half the budget or like a quarter of the budget and just make a small movie.
Okay.
Because he said filmmakers get destroyed when they try to make like something bigger and better than they've ever done. And that's what PTA did with Punch Drunk Love. He
Oh
followed
yeah,
up
after
that.
Magnolia, it was
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, something kind of akin to like Licorice Pizza would make sense. Like in terms of runtime, I think he's going to try to make something that's like 2 hours. I don't think he's going to make another 3 hour movie. And I don't know if I anticipate him making another romantic film or like a Punch Drunk Love or Licorice Pizza style film in terms of like the likeness and enjoyable quality of watching it. But I think in terms of runtime, I say 2 hours, and I think it might be really off the wall. I think it might literally be
Mm.
like, and I don't know if he's going to take a crazy high budget either. Like, I think Warner Brothers, I'm pretty sure that's who produced One Battle. I'm sure they're happy about it because it's like a prestigious movie, but it's like the movie didn't like make a ton of money. I think it like broke even at best or lost money.
Mm.
So I don't know if he's going to have like $150 million budget ever again. But what I want for him, I want him to have like a $60 million budget and just do something like really simple, or like 80 million and do something simple with like an incredible cast. Yeah, that would be my only thing. I don't know. I've always he's the gift that keeps on giving. I pretty much love all of his films, so I've pretty high confidence that he's gonna keep making great films, but it's hard to predict the future. It's just like I wonder if this is going to mean that he's going to start winning a bunch of Oscars or if he's just going to become super obscure. It would also
Okay.
be pretty amazing if he did like like The Master, like a really like abstract kind of drama would be wonderful, but yeah. Anyway, God bless. Happy 2026.
Oh fuck.
So yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say. I'm pretty much
Uh
good to go.
Paul Thomas Anderson should cast he should cast Alfred Molina again.
Could happen.
That'd be
Like
sick.
John C. Riley.
Oh, yeah, well, that'd be great. Fuck it, make him
Yeah,
the
he
lead.
had a cameo in Licorice Pizza.
Oh yeah, wasn't he the creature?
He was
Way
like,
better job than Jacob Elordi, am I right? Ha 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 ha.
yeah.
Fucking give that guy the fucking
But anyway, have a nice evening, everyone.
Peace.
All right. Bye bye.